Recently, one of the top marketers named Alex Hormozi gained a lot of attention for his live event and his book launch, where he generated millions from one single event. And I recently came across one of his videos where he breaks down paid ads and the strategies that coaches and service-based businesses use. For someone that's built complete lead generation funnels that generate 5 to 28 times return on ad spend for high-ticket coaches and consultants, I had to see what the guy who scaled many businesses to over $100 million plus per month had to say about the space. Because when Alex Hormozi has something to say about the paid ad space, people listen. So today, we're going to go through his best advice for coaches running ads in 2025.
So this is local, right? Okay. So the nice thing is that local businesses are the easiest business to run ads for, okay, because trust is sky high. And you're like, oh, they don't trust me. Like, try and sell beauty to, people on the internet. It's much harder.
Okay. So trust is the most important thing, or one of the most important things, and one of the biggest issues that coaches, high-ticket coaches, tend to face when it comes to paid ads. Now, apart from money, the only thing that's going to stop someone from purchasing your service or purchasing your coaching services is whether they trust you or not. Okay. And the reason why trust is arguably more important than money is because if someone fully trusts that whatever they invest into your services, they're going to get a profit out of it. Even if they don't have the money, they will find the money. That's why at times trust can be arguably a more important aspect than actual finances and money. Now, high-ticket coaches will face a lot of issues in paid ads when it comes to trust. This is because they have a service that costs several thousands of pounds or dollars, and it's not physical, and you tend to be targeting people who have never seen you before. Now, you and me both know that it's very, very hard to advertise to someone who's never seen you before and get them to spend thousands of pounds on a service or product that isn't even visible, in terms of they can't hold it, they can't physically see it, they have to take your word for it, and they have to take your advice on it. It is impossible to show how good of a coach you are in just a few minutes or in just a pitch. Okay, these people have to take your word for it and take the social proof that you deliver to them as somewhat tangible, and they have to take it to the point where they're basing their spend or whether they're going to buy from based of this small aspect or this small experience they had with you. Now, in comparison to a roofing business or a business that, cleaners, a cleaning service isn't, you can't hold it in your hand. Like, you're not buying it. It's not a physical product in that sense. It's a service, but you know what you're going to get out of it. You know what to expect. They can show their before and afters. It's very, very easy to build proof, and it's very, very easy to build kind of credibility in that aspect, because you can show footage and you can very easily show results. However, when it comes to high ticket coaching, you can show testimonials, you can show case studies, etc. But again, that is not tangible results. They just have to take someone's word. There's a lot of taking someone's word. High ticket coaching is easier when you have a strong organic. And generating income from high ticket coaching is a lot easier when you have a very strong organic. This is because people followed you for a long time and they've digested your content. They're familiar with who you are, so you've built a lot of trust. So it gets very, very difficult when you're now trying to navigate this into the paid ad space, because you typically take people, especially if you're running ads on Instagram and Facebook. People use Instagram and Facebook primarily for entertainment. So you're trying to sell a service or a business to someone who's just trying to enjoy themselves or have a good time or de-stress from the real world. So not only is trust an issue, it's also the fact that you need to make your stuff engaging or appealing to the point where someone is willing to pause their fun to be able to listen to you. Okay, so it's a very, very difficult and very, very hard to navigate space when it comes to paid ads and high ticket coaching. But that's why someone like me is here, to help you navigate through them and to show you all the ways around it. Every issue that I bring up or every problem I bring up is simply a hurdle. It's not something that stops you from being able to do it. It's just something that makes it harder. Now, hurdles are only as difficult as your ability to navigate through them.
Welcome to cold traffic. So they won't be, but what you will need to create is a sales process that creates qualified customers, all right? And so when I say creates, it's really just filters for good ones. Just think about it like that. It's just like I'm adding filters, and the more filters you add, the more expensive the leads will be if they're good filters. And if they're more expensive, they'll be good if they're good filters. If you add bad filters, they'll be more expensive, but they won't be better.
So another issue that you get in paid ads is the fact that you're advertising to cold traffic. Now, sales teams will always tell you, and my experience from running ads for high-ticket coaches is that I know whether they have a good sales team or a bad sales team based on how their closers report back to leads. They're cold, they're bad quality. You either have a super lazy closer or there's something wrong with systems. A lot of people blame the media buyers or the media buying or the adverts and say that there's bad audio audience targeting, but I beg to differ. So the reason why I say it's lazy sales or it's lazy thinking to just report leads as bad quality or cold is because if you're advertising to cold traffic, you're always going to be getting cold people coming in. And a lazy closer may believe that, oh, this person is hard to convert because they're bad quality, but most of the time it's just there's a lack of trust being built. Now, this isn't the closer's fault, however. It's just lazy reporting. So what the closer needs to actually identify and needs to actually assess and report back to you is what exactly makes this lead a bad quality, or what exactly makes this lead cold. Is it that they don't have interest in your offer? Then that means they are bad quality. Because are they not your ICP? Because if they're your ICP, then they're not bad quality. They're just cold. Okay. And if they are cold, what exactly is cold about them? Was the sales call more of an educational call? Did they even know your services? Okay, they know your services. Do they know why you're the best to do it? Okay, so you need to look at the layers of market sophistication, from unaware, problem aware, solution aware to aware and ready to buy. Your closers need to figure out what stage these people are at and let you know, cool, like these people are in the solution aware or they're in the problem aware phase. They don't trust you, or they don't really know what's going on. And that's the type of advice you need to be hearing to be able to calculate what your bottleneck is or what the issue is with your leads. It's not that you probably are facing bad quality. It just boils down to trust, and not just trust, how much are they aware of what you do and who you are. Okay, so that's how you fix trust. Because it's one thing saying, oh, the leads don't trust you, but it's another thing saying, okay, the leads don't trust you, they're cold, they're aware of who you are and what you do, but they don't think you're the best at what you do. So then your strategy can be adjusted in according to that. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, are they bad quality? They just don't trust you. But these are the issues that high ticket coaches are going to face. This is online, this is cold traffic, you're advertising to people on a entertainment app, so you are going to have a lot of issues with trust. And that is the main thing that's going to stop you from being able to print and get you to 50 to 100K per month.
But what you will need to create is a sales process that creates qualified customers, all right? And so when I say creates, it's really just filters for good ones. Just think about it like that. It's just like I'm adding filters. And the more filters you add, the more expensive the leads will be if they're good filters. And if they're more expensive, they'll be good if they're good filters. If you add bad filters, they'll be more expensive, but they won't be better. So if I make it really hard for my page to load, it adds friction, but it's not good friction. If I add a VSL, so a video sales letter, to a page, it'll create friction, but it'll be good friction. So I'll increase the quality of the lead by doing that.
Okay, now, before we dive into how to get people to trust you, let's make a clear distinction between lead quality and lead filtering, okay, and lead volume and lead quality. Because when you're advertising to a cold audience, top of funnel, what you actually want to focus more on is getting good engagement and getting people through to your funnel. And having qualifiers and having strong filtering will allow you to filter the people who are more qualified and less qualified. Okay, so what I mean by this is you don't need to obsess over lead quality as much as you think you do. This is an issue that a lot of coaches or a lot of people that run paid ads. In 2025, one of the strongest targeting that we have right now is broad, and your creative becomes the targeting. As long as in your creative you're calling out your ICP and calling out their pain points, you are going to get people who are qualified coming down into your funnel. They may seem unqualified because they don't trust you, they're not ready to buy, but I promise you these people are qualified. They just do not trust you. So what you need to focus on is lead filtering more rather than lead quality. Okay, so what this means is, for example, pixel conditioning is the only sort of long-term lead quality that I focus on. Okay, if you run ads to broad with a strong pixel conditioning, you'd never have to worry about lead quality again. And I've mentioned this in my previous videos. Lead conditioning is when someone goes to book a call. Before they book a call, they get given a type form. A type form has a few questions and you qualify the leads based on these questions. Okay, so you have some people that will go to a qualified thank you page and some people that go to a not a fit thank you page. You only have the pixel on the qualified thank you page. So the pixel only fires when qualified people book a call. So when people who aren't qualified book a call, the pixel won't fire. Now what this tells the pixel is that only these type of people book a call. So if you tell Facebook, hey, I want to book more calls, I want you to optimize for booked calls, it's going to send the ads to those type of people that land on the qualified booked calls, because Facebook believes that these are the type of people that are going to book a call. So this is pixel conditioning. If you run ads with a large budget, you run them on broad, and you combine them with pixel conditioning, that's the only quality and qualifying you need to worry about in terms of the ads. Now times have changed. I remember when I first started running ads, you had to worry about interest stacking, lookalike stacking, all these other audiences type of targeting. But Facebook's AI and algorithms are really strong now. All you need to do is run broad, pixel conditioning, make sure your creatives are doing the right targeting. Okay, so if you're running these and your sales teams are telling you that leads are unqualified, it's likely that there's an issue of trust and not actually qualification. Okay, the leads probably are qualified, they just don't trust you. As I said, if someone truly wholly believes that they are going to make a ton of money by working with you, then they are going to find the money even if they do not have it. Okay, now audience testing. What I mean by this, as I said, I mentioned Facebook's algorithms are really strong now. But however, there's nothing wrong with testing other audiences, and there's nothing wrong with bringing in other audiences. Now, you could have 60% of your ad budget go to broad, and you could have two other audiences. One, I always test a lookalike audience. So this could be your warm leads, people who have booked a call, people who have purchased from you, or people who've even paid in full. And you can create a lookalike and send ads to these people. So that's a lookalike test, a lookalike stack that I would test. The problem with lookalikes and interest stacking is that you tend to run through these audiences quite fast. So I test it. Let's say you have some winning ads. You want to scale these winning ads even further. Then you test it in other audiences and put them into audiences that you know will work, like the lookalike stack of people have paid in full. And then another audience that you could test interest stacking. So you put about 3 to 5 relevant interests, put them into an ad set, and then run some of your winning ads against that audience. Now that is simply, again, back in the day, more of your budget would have been split for this. So it would have even been maybe a third for each one, but now it's mostly in broad. But you can introduce audience testing there. I wouldn't rely too heavily on it. It's just so you can make as much as from the creators you have. It's not because we want to fix quality. These are short-term solutions to a quality issue, but they do work. Typically, if your pitch conditioning works well, you have good audiences and good tracking. If you have a really bad audience problem, you need a short-term fix, I would recommend trying those audiences. Now, type from qualification, as I mentioned, this goes hand in hand with the pitch conditioning. I've already mentioned it. So you have the, when someone goes to book a call, you have the type from come up. And then cold audiences I also mentioned. So broad, for example, you would run ads on broad and let your creative do the testing. Okay. So these are examples of, lead qualification and lead filtering. Lead filtering is what you would worry about more, but lead quality and filtering, they do go hand in hand. They overlap sometimes. If you filter leads, you will get a higher quality. Let's say you run ads to the lookalike, a 1% lookalike of people who have paid in full. You wouldn't really necessarily need to filter those people. You already have the lead quality there.
Too many opt-ins that aren't qualified, you can add more friction. So just for everyone, it's like, what's the perfect funnel? If you get too many that are bad, add friction. If you don't get enough, remove friction. And if you have almost no friction and they're still bad leads, the targeting's off. If I make it really hard for my page to load, it adds friction, but it's not good friction. If I add a VSL, so a video sales letter, to a page, it'll create friction, but it'll be good friction. So I'll increase the quality of the lead by doing that.
So Alex Hormozi also talks about friction, and I want to touch on it too. So you have two types of friction. You have good friction and bad friction. Okay. Essentially, friction is just something that slows someone down from being able to fulfill an action. Okay. So bad friction are things like slow loading times. If your landing page takes too long to load, people will not wait longer than 2-3 seconds. Typically, they're probably going to close it off. Unnecessary bad friction, you're losing people that could even be super qualified just because of a quick and easy fix. Unprofessional, inconsistent copy or messaging. So what this means is your landing pages are maybe too bright, too dark. It's not clear what you're saying. Your messaging is inconsistent. Your ad saying one thing, your video saying another. Your headline saying another thing. Unprofessional copy could be you're making wild claims while there's typing errors, there's spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes. Just anything that just makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about. Hidden pricing. This could be, if you're selling something for low ticket, but some people do. I've even been a victim of this, where you sell something for low ticket, or you super cheap, or you even say it's free, and you add in something like delivery costs, or you add in another random cost that the prospect didn't agree to or didn't know about, that they're only seeing at the very, very end. This super bad friction makes you seem super untrustworthy. Too many steps. I've seen people have type forms just for people to opt in. I've had people do opt-in type form, and then when they want to book a call, there's another type form. Too many steps. If you're making people go to several different landing pages, too many steps. Taking people to different places, making people click on different things, too many steps. You want the pathway to be as clear and simple as possible, not confusing. You don't want the CTAs to be hidden. You don't want several CTAs on one place. That's all example of bad friction. It stops someone from taking an action that there's no benefit for. So now this is good friction. A short type form to filter out unqualified leads. Good friction. It adds a step in, but however, it allows you to filter the lower quality people out. You may lose some high quality people, but at the end of the day, these things take seconds to do. So even if someone is actually something like good quality, you have to question, are they really? If they're not willing to take a few seconds to invest into something that they think may work, then are they really high quality? But that's something that's debatable. Opt-in versus instant form. So as I've always said, I'm a big fan of opt-in versus instant form. Opt-in takes people off of the platform, Instagram and Facebook, people can't autofill, hits them straight to the funnel. To have to load the funnel up, then I go to opt-in VSL and I go to book a call. Instant form, you will get loads more people applying because you don't have to be taken off the platform, and they can autofill, so it's much faster to do. However, any Tom and Harry can fill this in pretty quickly without even realizing that they tend to forget very quickly. They're not going to load up the VSL because they have to come off the platform. They're going to be super low intent, super low quality. They're not going to watch the VSL. They're not going to book a call. They're probably not even going to pick up. They probably have their old numbers connected to their social media, so you can't even get through to them. Waste of everybody's time. Pixel conditioning, this has got to do with stuff like type form, anything to filter out people that are unqualified within reason. That is an example of good friction. Application questions, so when someone goes to book a call, you ask them certain questions about their business. This is good friction. It might take longer, but then the closer or the sales team have more information to work with, so they know how exactly they're going to approach the sales call. A low ticket magnet versus a free lead magnet. So a bit of barrier to entry. I know some coaches that have run free lead magnets that have done really well, and I know some coaches that have run some low ticket magnets that have done really well. I would lean more to the low ticket, so even if it's, rather than having it free, have it $17. Two reasons for this: you make some money out of it, and on top of that, there's a bit of a barrier to entry, because anyone who's willing to spend, even if it's $10 on a service, or even like something that they're getting, even if it's good value for money, you're going to get less people opting in for it, but you're going to get way higher quality people, because these people understand that to get something good, they have to pay for it. Whereas a free lead magnet, people that may not even be interested are going to opt in just because it's free. And another bit is having something like setting expectations. So you have a thank you page that has a list of instructions, or something that sets expectations. You have a pop-up explaining certain expectations or certain rules. There's nothing wrong with that. You even give them a phone call beforehand, setting expectations. This is good friction. You show people that you're serious, and that people shouldn't waste your time, and that you are someone who should be taken seriously.
When I look at all the ads that we've done over the years, like I said earlier, 80% of them are about proof. And so as much as we want to think it's all about us, like, no one cares. And so the idea there is you want to create the most compelling proof as possible, which is the type of proof that would be the least likely to be faked. So on this extreme, you'd have a faceless, anonymous, 10-year outdated, text-based testimonial. On this extreme, I would have someone walk up on stage who looks just like you, owns a CrossFit business coaching business, and says, Alex helped me go from 3 million to 30 million. And that'll make more compelling proofs that make more compelling ads. That you only lose trust in the marketplace when you say something that isn't true. And if you're not saying it and it's their fact of life, how can anyone fault you?
So at the start of this video, I talked about trust, and the number one thing that stops people from purchasing from you is trust. Some people think that, or some coaches believe that making promises somehow will gain people's trust. But promises is just a cheap and easily seen through way of trying to build people's trust. If anything, promises are super low quality, and they make people even distrust you more. Stuff like guarantees, like if you don't make X, Y, and Z, you're going to get a refund, or I'm going to work with you for free until you do get X, Y, and Z. You're going to get lower quality people coming in that are only there because of the guarantee. Low quality clients, they're time wasters. They tend to not really listen. They get worse results. They back out shorter, so they might start working with you, then back out. They don't stay for longer. Lower commitment, lower replies. They're more likely to take the mick, more likely to just give you a headache. Promises do not equal trust. However, proof is way, way, way stronger in getting someone to trust you and trust that you are going to do what you say you're going to do. Now, with proof, there are a lot of different ways you can generate proof. Okay, one of the ways you can generate proof is by testimonials / reviews. These can be screenshots of chats, screenshots of client wins. This can be video testimonials. Now, I know a marketer that ran a video testimonial. He ran a cold ad. Then after he ran a video testimonial of his client, basically saying, after working with XYZ, I got XYZ. I really, really recommend XYZ. This is the process we went through. Essentially, it's like a cold ad, but coming from, instead of the coach talking about, this is what I apply to my clients, this is what I apply to you, this is how I'll fix you. He started off with with a short hook, and then he talked about the pain points that he experienced, and then he spoke about the unique mechanism that the coach applied. He talked about the benefits that he received from it, and then he put in the CTA. Now, the reason why this is genius is because it's exactly like a cold ad. He ran it as retargeting, but instead of it being from one perspective, he did it from the other side. And typically when I see testimonials, it's more of just a review, not an ad type of review. But this was genius because he literally gave he could have run this to a cold audience, but obviously a cold audience wouldn't really make sense because it's much more effective to run it as retargeting, because now we've seen the coach, we're a bit familiar with him and what he does. We've seen the first ad, and then now he runs that retargeting ad, and now it's like from the other end. So now we've seen both perspectives. We've seen this perspective of the coach, we've seen this perspective of the client. He's got everything in that you would have in a cold ad. You have hook, pain point, unique mechanism, benefits, CTA, bang. And he did this. It was a genius method, a genius strategy that I'm 100% going to implement for my clients. And it's something that you should implement yourself as well. But that's an example of a super strong proof. It was a testimonial. Now we've seen both sides, and we know that he is the real deal. And his client is literally backing up everything the guy was saying. So I've spoken about testimonials. I've spoken about client wins and social proof. Another thing you can also do is achievement/lifestyle. Now, however, be careful with lifestyle, because lifestyle can make you seem like a type of way. Lifestyle doesn't have to be flashy cars, flashy houses, flashy this, flashy that. Lifestyle could just be showing that you are super organized, you're super clean, in the sense that all the things so it could be you at a really nice coffee shop. It could be you on holiday. It could just be a picture of the beach. It could just be a picture of you in, it could be very, very simple stuff, very, very subtle stuff. It could be a picture of you in a suit and you have a nice watch, a nice Rolex on, very subtly in. It's not no diamonds on it, no VVS, just a simple Rolex or simple kind of Audemars Baguette, kind of just on your wrist. Subtly, doesn't have to be flashy, doesn't have to be super sparkly, doesn't have to be anything crazy. And this still shows lifestyle. It shows that in fact people probably will tend to levitate towards someone who's subtly flashy rather than in your face flashy. In your face flashy tends to come across immature, stubborn, cocky, and that person may not be that type of person, but that's how they come across. Someone that just wants to make money, quit. But you want to come across as a businessman who makes money but isn't super flashy. That's lifestyle, and that's how you prove who you are, and you're someone to listen to. The reason for this is because if you have a strong kind of lifestyle backing, that means you must make money. Like, there's only so much you can fake. You can only fake for so long and so much. And even if you are faking, it is super expensive to fake that much. So even if you are faking, you must have some sort of money, because to be able to fake loads of flashy cars, loads of flashy apartments, loads of this, loads of watches, even faking it is super expensive, because even if you're renting, borrowing, you must be around people that have access to this stuff. You must be actually putting deposit down for, even to rent a Lamborghini for several days. It's super expensive. Now, I digress, because that's not the path you should take. However, I explain that because some people may say, oh, what if it's fake? What if they're doing this, doing that? But even if you are faking it, which I really advise you don't, it is super expensive to do. So that's why people do trust people very instantly, regardless of whether they feel like they're faking it or not. So yeah, lifestyle was one of them. Another one that Jeremy Haynes talks about actually is he has something like his YouTube plaques. He has his ClickFunnels plaque, has several like awards, achievements in the background of his video. And what this does is, this is also a very subtle kind of flex to show that he gets YouTube views, to show that he has generated ClickFunnels sales. I think to get a ClickFunnels plaque, I can't remember, but I know you need to hit in the millions of sales. So that's something social proof that anyone who understands, like me, who's a marketer, watching his videos, I think, okay, yeah, this guy's the real deal. He's got a ClickFunnels plaque in the back. He's not someone to be messed with. Okay. Other ways of proof, again, footage, lifestyle footage, anything that can kind of show this is the real deal, you are the real deal, what you do is the real deal. This could be pictures. If you are the type of person that does in-person group work, like let's say you're a property coach and you do site visits with your students, a picture of you and all your students together is perfectly fine for proof. There are many ways to add proof. You can add proof in your ads with mini case studies, mini breakdowns, mini testimonials. You can run testimonials as a retargeting ad, for example. All right, so Alex Hormozi talks about his 70-20-10 rule, where he talks about 70% is just doing what you mainly do, so running your ads to a broad audience. For example, 20% is replicating the winners, and 10% is just wild ideas, which it's not a bad rule to live by. Something I probably do that subconsciously. I spend most of my time doing what I usually do and what typically performs. Then 20% of my budget would go to replicating the winners, and 10% every now and then I will get some random ideas going out there, especially if the client has budget. This only works if the client does have budget. If the client doesn't have a good budget to work with, the 10% is not something I would risk unless you have got a super good ROAS. Then it's worth being able to test other stuff. Now, maximizing winners and minimizing fatigue, how you can get the most out of winning creatives is that, remember how I talked about you can get a lookalike audiences of hot leads or warm leads, people who have purchased new in full, people but to call. Create a 1% of that and get your winning creatives. Okay, and even if you want to replicate winning creatives, you can even test them in these kind of audiences. So let's say you have an ad that has a 10x ROAS. It's doing really, really well, but you're worried, like you're thinking, how can I get the maximum of it? So what I would do is I'll copy the ad, put it into any kind of hot or warm lookalikes you have, put it into it and scale that ad, run it for a few days. If it seems to be picking up and doing well, keep it going. If it doesn't, turn it off. You can test it in different audiences, and that's how you can maximize the winners and minimize fatigue. Even with ads that aren't winners but they're just doing well, you can always duplicate them into other audiences that you know are working, and you can make the most out of them. So I'd always have broad interest and lookalike. Use those 3 audiences at minimum, and that's just to a cold audience, and you'll be able to maximize your reach for any type of winners you have and minimize your fatigue. Okay, so retargeting. Remember, as I said earlier on today, that the main thing that's going to stop someone from purchasing is trust. Okay, so retargeting is what separates a good marketer and a great marketer, because retargeting allows you to hit different prospects at different layers of the funnel and bring them back into the system, creating almost like an ecosystem. So the first one I want to cover today is content nurturing retargeting. Now, there's 2 types of content nurturing retargeting that we can run. One being a profile visit ad, and the other being an engagement ad. Now, with the profile visit ad, so essentially what you post is highly engaging content or highly easy to digest content if you're going to post it higher up the funnel. Or you could post maybe the coaches or the client's top performing reels. You send this to anyone who's watched maybe 3 seconds of your ads. You send this to anyone who's maybe become a lead or anyone's become a bit cool. For example, different areas you can run it to. And then you would then either run it as an engagement ad. So there's no CTA, no nothing, just get people to watch the video. It's much cheaper to do this, you get more views. Or you can run it as an Instagram profile visit ad with a CTA that visit the profile. More expensive to run, but you get more people following. What you'd have is you'd have a setter in the DMs or setter in the coach's profile, DMing anyone who follows. Even if you don't run any of these retargeting ads, just the fact that you're running ads, you're going to get followers. So it's super, super crucial to have a setter in the DMs or set a DM in anyone who follows. You can clean up a lot from this, build rapport, because the issue is you have a lot of people who feel like from a cold ad just don't feel comfortable opting in or putting in the name, number, email, because they just don't feel comfortable giving away the data. Completely fair, completely understandable. Some people, what they do is they may follow, they may like your stuff, but they might follow rather than actually becoming a lead. So what this enables the setter to build a rapport over the DMs this allows the setter to build a rapport over the DMs. It would be a longer sales cycle, and this can take days, it can take weeks, but you are cleaning up on a lot of people that may not would have convert if you didn't do this. Now, content nurturing goes hand in hand with objection handling as well, because objection handling ads, they are a type of content nurture, but I'll leave it separate and I'll explain in more depth later on. Another layer to the retargeting is page visitors. So anyone who's visited the, for example, the opt-in page, you would but didn't become a lead, you would retarget them with certain ads trying to get them to become a lead. So anyone who's landed on the VSL page but they haven't booked a call, so what you do is maybe retarget them with some social proof, some sort of case studies, just to kind of give them a little of a nudge with the CTA to book a call. The next one is video viewers. This is one that I've had a lot of fun with, and it's one of the most interesting ones in my opinion, one of the most important ones in my opinion, as video viewers tend to cover a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't realize that video retargeting people based on a percentage of a video they've watched is not limited to just ads. You can also do this on people's organic, on your Instagram profile as well, to some of your reels. So you can advertise people who've watched maybe 3 seconds, 25%, 50%, 75%, 95%, any of your reels, as these people probably are going to be your ICP, as they're highly engaged in your content. I like to retarget, people based on if they watch 50% of the ad, or maybe they're super engaged but they haven't converted, so maybe they need a nudge. Quite similar to page visitors, but different type of targeting, different type of ecosystem, because essentially what you're building with retargeting, you're building a paid ads funnel. 2 years ago you could run ads to a cold audience, and print from it, and not have to worry about building an actual paid ads funnel with loads and loads of retargeting. You could not know how to run any retargeting and still print from Facebook ads 2 years ago. Nowadays, trust is at all-time low. You need to have in-depth kind of retargeting funnels within your funnel, with in-depth paid ads funnels within your funnel, where you have a cold ad, content nurturing, then another retargeting ad after. That's a very simple and basic one that I like to run, especially with lower spend. So moving on to objection handlers. So objection handlers is a type of content nurturing where you send people videos that are addressing certain common objections or common asked questions. That's why it's super important as well to have a strong sales team, and it's super important for the sales team to be in communication with the marketing team, or at least the closers to be in at least for the closers and setters to be in communication with the media buyers or whoever's handling the Facebook ads. This is because any common objections can be handled through the ads. So I always say my service, I optimize based on live data. So I would communicate with the closer and ask, okay, what are the most common objections we're getting? For example, a common objection could be is, I work a 9 to 5. I don't know if I'll have enough time to manage this. I don't think this is for me. Now, what I would do if I realize that this is the most common objection is I'll script an ad where it's almost like a Q&A ad. It could be one person talking to the founder or the face of the ads, or the founder himself or the face of the ads actually themselves, asking the question and then answering the question. So the ad would go like this. You might be wondering, oh, I work a 9 to 5. Will I be able to have enough time to run this? And I want to let you know that in short answer is yes. The reason for this is I built this system in mind for high earners like you who are busy with a 9 to 5 or busy with their day jobs and don't have time to work on other side hustles. That's why we do all the work for you. All we need to do is fill in the form when we onboard, and all we need from you is 2 hours of contact time a week, and everything else is handled for you, and we'll be able to help you reach 100k, 50k per month, whatever it is the goal is. So that's just off the top of my head, but that's the type of kind of objection handlers we would run, and we'll send this to anyone who's booked a call, anyone who's become a lead, and even others. It doesn't have to be just that one, there can be other questions as well. So what this does is this handles any objections or any problems that we may have before they even occur or before they even get on. So this builds trust. The ICP is going to think, wow, this guy really understands me. He feels like he's speaking to me. And that's the way we would navigate that issue there. Now, testimonials, again, trust. Testimonials are social proof. There's different types. There's client wins, there's reviews, there's video testimonials, there's carousel reviews, etc. I would typically send this out middle or bottom of funnel, not to a cold audience. People can do, but testimonials are really good for building proof, and you want to do this later on because people have different intents and people at different levels, different things will be more effective at different levels. There's a super big marketer named Jeremy Haynes, and he always says, I don't want to be right, I want to be rich. What he means by this is that he may not always be right, and what he says may not always be fully right. Always test, and whatever makes the most money, go with. Don't go with what he says, go with whatever makes the most money. And I stand by that 100%. And finally, I want to talk about group funnels. Group funnels, I personally don't run, but if you're unfamiliar with them, they are typically free or low ticket offers where they are run on Discord, School, Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, for example, and probably some other platforms where we run an ad and you tell people to join the group, join the free group or the cheap group to get access to certain information, get access to the coach or founder. And essentially what this is almost like a training group where they'll give you some sort of training. It's a community where you can connect with similar people, get access to the founder, ask questions, you see wins. And of course, it may feel like they're doing you a favor, but to be honest, the group is obviously to sell to them later. It's basically to upsell. So you have a free or low ticket group and then you upsell your paid service. Now, this is a really smart and a really good funnel to use, especially if you as a founder have a very strong organic and you want to switch into paid ads. It allows a much smoother and stronger transition. So you start a low ticket free group, you get your organic members to join in, build up the base. So the base is already built out because there's no point doing this group and running ads and the people go to join and they see 10 members. They think that you've just started it, but if you have a strong organic, let's say you have 10,000 followers, you manage to get 2,000 of them or 2,000 people into the group through organic and reels, etc. So when you run ads to it, you can say, oh yeah, we already have 2,000 people, even 1,000 people already in the group, join now. It shows that you're not a beginner and people are more likely to join. it allows a much smoother transition. Now, the reason why it works so well is because there's an incentive for both sides to join. Okay, so someone doesn't want to commit £10,000 to your offer, but they're happy to commit $10 to join your paid group. You give them lots of value in there, not too much, but lots of value in there. And one thing you need to do is share a lot of client wins, so like testimonials essentially. So any client wins are posted straight in there. You post some free value in there, and you're just nurturing this person longer term. Now, group funnels can have some incredibly long sales cycles, and they can be quite long to manage, but if they're done properly, you can make a lot of money from them. Okay, you can nurture 1,000, 2,000 people all at the same time. Whereas if you're doing this all via ads or other methods, it could be a lot more expensive and a lot more time consuming. So group funnels are super useful, and it's also a group of people that are super qualified. So you can export this data to the list of people in the funnel. You can create lookalikes. You can run ads to for them to book a call. You can upsell to them very easily. You can run a webinar, get them to join the webinar. You have kind of like a loyal base. So it allows you to kind of expand into other territories. If you have the team and the resources to successfully run this and manage it and maintain it, then by all means go ahead. But I personally don't run it because the people that I work with don't necessarily need it. I'm very much on building out your paid ads funnels and converting through that. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. But I just thought I'll touch on group funnels since Alex Hormozi mentioned it, and it's something that can work. But again, there's no one funnel that does work. If there was, everyone would use it. Group funnels work, webinar funnels work, book call funnels work. It just depends on, you need to be able to assess your system or your business. You need to assess your strengths or weaknesses, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And not only yours, your team, as a team is only as strong as its weakest link. Okay, so you need to assess what your team is good at, what they're not good at, and then come to a conclusion on what type of funnel to go with and run. So those are Alex Hormozi's 6 game-changing insights for advertising as a high-ticket coach. Building trust systematically, focusing on filtering over lead quality, leading with proof and not promises, the 7-20-10 creative testing rule, leveraging retargeting, and implementing group funnels for higher conversions. Now, if you implement even just one of these strategies into your funnels, you see higher conversion rates and higher lead quality. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to check out this video on the screen where I go through my complete Facebook ad system that helped generate coaches 5 to 28 times ROAS. Click that video now, and I'll see you soon.